and welcome to Straight Talk Sales and Marketing. I am your host, Janet Clark, and I am happy to be with you here today. And I have my good friend and colleague, Wendy Collier, here, and she's going to be talking to you about SoulFuel business, which I'm really excited to hear about. So, Wendy, I am going to let everybody know a little bit about you, and we are going to get started in 1 second here. Well, I get your bio in front of me. Okay, everybody. So Wendy Collier empowers entrepreneurs and people who are stuck in the corporate world to win the inner and outer game. She helps people to create the business of their soul. She shows women how to find the guts and the smarts to profit from their passion and make a real difference. And her message is great for both men and women, by the way. Wendy leads her clients step by step on how to find and unleash their soul fuel, create heart and soul fueled businesses that are also viable and make money without apology, have kick-ass marketing, and helps you to feel really and truly free from the inside out. So Wendy believes that the human spirit never rests until it has found a home where it can be fully and authentically expressed at any time. So I am going to let Wendy take over here and tell you a little bit more about her, and I thank you all for being here, and so let's get started.
Thanks, Janet. It's really good to be with you. It's been good to know you all this time and fun to do this little project with you.
Yeah, so Wendy and I have actually shared a mastermind group for the last year and a half, so we've been growing our businesses together, and it's been a lot of fun to watch you, Wendy, and see how you have evolved. So tell us, what is it that you have, what's your angle here really on sales and marketing?
Yeah, well, I started in corporate in marketing, first job out of college, and worked my way up the ranks and came into senior level positions in really big companies in the Silicon Valley like Adobe, Hewlett Packard, Cisco, and a few others. So I learned those skills really early on, but found myself pretty unhappy in that environment. So the environment felt inauthentic to me. I felt like I couldn't really be myself, and I didn't feel that my purpose in this world was to market technology, whether it be software or hardware. That just wasn't my soul fuel. So I set out to find my soul fuel, which of course is typically rooted in your background in some way. I had a difficult upbringing. It was not easy. I'm grateful for it today because it did carve lots of great character traits in me that I appreciate immensely. Ultimately, it led me to a life where I felt like I wasn't really being authentic. I couldn't, totally be myself. I felt kind of silenced. So my mission, in essence, is to help people find who they are again, find what really drives them, what really pulls them, that desire, that when you tap into it, you just can't stop doing what you love to do. And really going through a process, I'm a coach and I work with clients in private programs as well as group, and I just work through the process with them to get them to plug into their soul fuel, which ultimately is translated into your sales and your marketing, because that's how it's translated. It's bringing your voice to market, right? Bringing your message to market. And that, I believe, the most powerful way to do that in any kind of sales or marketing is to be 100% yourself. I think that, we've known a lot of people, most of us know a lot of people in corporate jobs, and they're unhappy and they really don't feel like they can be themselves, and after work they get kind of happy because now they can take off, the costume and be themselves, and on the weekends they feel free. And I've actually seen that also with small business owners. Sometimes business owners feel like they're kind of a fraud, like they have to do certain activities that don't feel authentic to them, and there's not much difference there than being trapped in a corporate job. So, my work is really about helping people tap back into, it's basically reconnecting. It's not like discovering something for the first time. It's it was there in you, either as a child or a teenager, or maybe even in college, to bring that forth and then to translate that into really effective, powerful marketing copy and marketing strategies and enrollment conversations, which is what we call it, rather than sales. But I'm not afraid of the word sales either.
Yeah, so, I like what you said, because so many people that are starting out as coaches or consultants, or, maybe they've been doing it for a while and they're really good at what they do. There's so many people that have these just great gifts and strengths and talents, and a lot of those things they perfected or, got good at in their corporate job, but now they have that soul just pushing them to go out into the world and make a difference.
Yeah.
But the thing that is really challenging for so many people is this aspect of marketing one's own services and then being able to really close that sale. And, I like the perspective that you have, that if you can get good at that, you really are helping, you're able to contribute your gifts, which is really what we're all about. So talk about that a little.
Yeah, thank you, Janet. I love that question, because I think we need to reframe what sales is about and what marketing is about, because that's where we get caught up, right? There's negative connotations, the sleazy, used car salesman or whatever. A lot of coaches and trainers and others think that they have to sort of resort to those tactics. And that is very old school. It's the way we used to think about it. It doesn't work anymore. Today it's about connection. But really, it's service. If you think about it, I know I'm so grateful for the fact that the coach that I have a couple coaches, but all of them successfully sold me on their programs. And I am so thankful that they did, that they didn't hold back because of these fears about how they'd come across, that they knew that they had a valuable program to offer me and that it would change my life. And it has changed my life. So you too have that ability to really alter the future of another person's life. Like many people, right? So basically what we're doing in those conversations is inviting people into a dream that they have likely shelved for decades, or at least many years, and really just gently nudging them and to say, hey, you can do this, and I believe in you. And I have the solution, and I can get you there. It's a very loving act, and any way that we hold back is just basically holding back what they need and a solution and an answer to what they're looking for, right?
I totally agree. So when your clients are in the first beginning stages of looking at how they're going to get the message out there, can you talk a little bit about, because I know you really have a great talent with email marketing and blogging and actually connecting with people through the email campaign. So maybe that would be a great thing to talk to us about.
Yeah, I think the power of the written word in this day and age is wonderful. It's magnificent what you can do. Because if you have an online business, which does give you all the freedom and flexibility that most of us are looking for, then you're reliant upon your ability to communicate verbally, yes, in this kind of situation, as well as in writing. Writing is especially powerful because you can stay connected on an ongoing basis with people who may not have already stepped in to work with you, and even the ones who have stepped in to work with you, right? And it's a way to serve, to continue to serve. I think that, what I've discovered with my email marketing is I don't follow the rules, really. I mean, there's certain things I certainly know I need to do. I need to be clear on a call to action. I need to make sure not to confuse people. I need to keep the message clear and simple. But the biggest sort of turning point that I've seen, and when I looked at all my statistics, I looked at all the emails that have gone out since the beginning of my business, and I looked at the open rates and the click-through rates, and in other words, what kind of engagement was I getting? It's all about engagement. This isn't some kind of an impersonal numbers, black and white thing. It's people, right? These are human beings who are looking for something from me that they need, and they're noticing that I might be able to provide that. So I wanted to know what is really resonating in their hearts, in their minds. So how many clicks, really, what's the activity, right? And measuring that. And I don't know why this surprised me, I already know this, but it was a good reminder that the emails and the blogs that I have published that are the most personal, the ones that I was terrified to press publish, are the ones that got the highest levels of engagement. More comments, more shares, and it really is about getting over ourselves to help other people. So I think that's a very powerful thing to remember, that people do want to hear, not that you go on and on and on and on, right? I've had a few pretty difficult situations happen, like someone broke into my house while I was at home working.
I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few things. My storage unit got broken into recently, and half my stuff was stolen. I didn't really want to talk about it. I gave myself some time, and in some cases you need a little bit of time. It doesn't always have to be bad, by the way. I've also talked about beautiful experiences, wonderful experiences, without belaboring it, but really using it as an opportunity to demonstrate or illustrate a point, as a teaching moment. It's all about them. It is in using our life experiences to help people connect the dots and learn and have a teaching moment where there's a real wake up that they have within them through your life experience, through your story.
Yeah, I love that. I was actually having this conversation the other day with my copywriter that's on my team, and we were talking about the subject lines, and is it better for the subject line to be about me personally, and is that going to resonate with people, or is it better for it to be about them, like something like you would react to? So we've actually been doing some studying on that as well, and what's your findings on that?
Wow, I haven't looked at it as, is it about, I always think it's about them, right? So it's like always about them. But I know what you're saying. You're saying when it comes down to the actual words, are you using words that are about you or about them, right?
Yeah, it's just an interesting, I'm just mainly talking about the subject line.
Yeah, I love subject lines. Oh my gosh, I get so fired up about them. I love them. And the ones that a lot of people, so traditionally it used to be that you just say what's in the email, right? You used to just say, like you would, Janet, maybe, straight talk podcast or something, like literally tell them, right? What we're finding in this day and age is that isn't actually what works anymore. It really needs to be something very intriguing. So I actually do a combo of both now that I think about it. I have an email going out on Saturday that's the subject title is My Secret to Happiness. And that isn't, I almost never say my, or that's really unusual for me. It's usually, I had one go out recently, grab your scholarship. And it was actually talking about a class I was doing, 3-part class that does, there's a scholarship opportunity in the class, but I didn't say teleclass in the subject title. I just, what's in it for them? Grab your scholarship, And there's lots of other, I'm trying to think of some that I've gotten. There was one, the secret to, the secrets are really, people love that, and of course you want to come up with a secret, like something that a lot of people wouldn't think of or they don't know about. But I really always, I call it empathetic marketing. Empathetic marketing, like literally getting inside the head of the people that you want to serve and their hearts, more importantly, their hearts. And to do that, we really need to be engaged. Like we need to survey them. We need to be emailing and asking, what do you need from me? Being really direct about it, listening to their words, listening to their struggles. And once you really dial in, and it takes time to absorb all that, then you're able to create subject titles that really capture the attention. It's usually something that would capture your attention, right? You're probably your own first client or your own best client. So maybe it's something that just would capture your attention. And if you come up with a subject title and you look at it and go, you know what, I wouldn't open that, then don't do it. Don't use it.
Yeah, that's great advice. And I was doing a webinar the other day, and we were, I was talking about sort of creating that ideal client so that you could really speak directly to the heart of that person. And I said, you know, I've been working with clients now for a couple of years, and one of the things I found is that almost 90% of the time, you are your ideal client. And people struggle with this. Well, I serve everybody. Well, I'm good. But when it really comes down to it, if you really can personalize, like you're out there to help somebody through something that you've already been through. So you're the ideal client.
Yeah. That's the ideal business to be in, by the way. So this kind of goes back to SoulFuel as well. There are people who are in business doing something they think they should be doing, or someone else told them this is a business that you should try. My philosophy, and it solves the problem that we're talking about, it solves all marketing and sales problems, because if you can just dig into your own life, your before and after story, what is it that you struggled with, that you were in one place then and now you're in another place, and what was the process that got you from there to here? And we all have a number of those scenarios that we can come up with, right? A number of things that we solved in our lives, and if you can just outline the process that got you there, that is a program right in and of itself. It's also a business in and of itself. So if you've gone through it yourself, it's going to be so much easier to connect those dots for people, to connect with them at the heart level, to not have to constantly think about what should I say. You know, you say what you needed to hear when you were back there, when you were where they are. What did you need to hear? What kind of person did you need to come into your life? What kind of program did you need? What kind of tips? And that's your business. And it makes it a whole lot easier. And even on those sales conversations, right? You're on the phone. Guess what? You're on the phone with yourself 2 years ago or whatever it was, right? So what were the thoughts what fears did you have at that point in time? What would stop you from stepping into the next level in your life? And really think about that, and knowing that and not having that in mind when you're talking to that person, you're going to talk completely different. Yeah.
So where really it speaks so much to, if a salesperson is struggling right now, or, you know, kind of hitting a plateau, then what is it that they need to do differently? And I think in a lot of cases, it's not always what they think. It's, you know, and I've heard people say, well, I need more training.
Oh, gosh.
You know, I need to talk and, you know, get more steps, or I need to shift the way that I'm doing it. And really, it's more about the mental mindset and the realizing that it's a communication problem probably more than anything.
Yes, and the communication starts within yourself.
Yeah.
So if you've lived at least 30 years on this planet, you have everything you need right now to help somebody else. You do. And this is a chronic problem. I see this too, Janet, all the time, where people are, I need another certification. Not to say that that isn't valuable. It's the way I look at it is it's kind of an extra tool to add to my toolbox, but it's not necessary. It's not absolutely necessary, unless, of course, you need some fundamental skills, but you likely already have those. So it's digging within yourself, more tapping into you, and then being able to communicate, then meet someone else where they're at. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So Wendy, it sounds like what you're saying is that just about every person could be an entrepreneur and has something of value to contribute, and you've got this great way of saying it, which is soul fuel, and any of us that are on any kind of spiritual path truly know that our soul is really here for a purpose. And if those of us who are fortunate enough to try to be able to take that soul's purpose and turn it into a livelihood and make that our life's work and support ourselves with it, that's when it all comes together to make for a beautiful life.
Yes, that's where everything clicks.
Yeah.
Actually, Janet, I did have a business. I've had a couple that were not my soul fuel. So that's how I know, and I can really feel what that feels like for someone. And it just felt off the mark. And I wasn't excited, and I wasn't able to communicate or sell or, very well. You know, it wasn't, I didn't enjoy the process. So SoulFuel is something you can't not do. It gets you out of bed, you're excited, you're jumping for joy, you're elated about it. It's just, it's what you're meant to do in the world.
Yeah, I so agree with that. And I also had a business for 10 years that served my purpose of making a living, but
Yeah.
it really wasn't fueling my passion for life. And so that, you know, those little voices started haunting me, saying, there's more, you know, which is why I ended up shifting into the freedom shift about a year and a half ago, which really now I focus on helping entrepreneurs with their sales and marketing, as opposed to, you know, just being out there and being a salesperson for a corporation or for, you know, a representing business to business type of a product solution. Similar to you, I mean, being in high tech.
Yeah, yeah. I'm so glad you did that, that you found something that you're much more passionate about. And you're applying the skills that you've used in the past. This is something I also tell clients, that because they think they have to sort of ditch anything they did in the past, because they, you know, a lot of times they're unhappy in the jobs or even a business that they've started, and the tendency is to want to just run away from it and never look back. And I say, you know what, there's so much goodness there, like pull from that skill set. So you have this sales skill set, and you're just applying it in a different way. You know, you don't want to waste all those years that you developed those skills. You want to just bring them along with you and apply it towards something you can get excited about.
Yeah, I definitely think that people that are in a business now or in any kind of a job, or, you know, let's just take coaches that are working and selling something. If it's not coming from deep within them and it's not something that they're passionate about, that could be one of the problems that people run into in the sales process, because
Yes.
we talk so much about this being authentic.
Yes, and I'm actually really, really big on, you know, the energy that we're putting out there. And if you have any conflict within yourself about what you're doing, then it can be the subtlest shift in your energy in a sales call that can make or break the situation. So that's why it becomes even more important to be aligned, where you're spiritually, you know, quote unquote, and emotionally and mentally, you're on board with what you're doing. And when all those cylinders are firing, and emotionally you're there, and your mindset is there, then, you know, you're able to come across in a much more powerful way energetically to that person. But if there is any conflict, you could self-sabotage, because essentially it's something you don't want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you are in your selling process with people, what do you have, like a certain way that you go through the sales process with people? I know you connect with them through email, and then you probably invite them into a conversation with you. And then how do you kind of get people enrolled in their own vision?
Yeah, and it is about enrolling them into their own vision. It really is. You know, it's for me, I don't think of it as a sales process, but I realize, you know, it's an enrollment process, essentially, of people getting to know me, you know, developing a relationship with me, basically, online. And so I use my experiences, like I said, in blog articles and in email marketing to develop that connection, just to be real with people and to help them feel like they're less alone, that I understand where they're coming from, and I'm there to encourage them and cheer them on. And I provide opportunities for them to talk with me. There's always something on my website where they can book a call if they like to. You know, I give a free SoulFuel business bliss brainstorm breakthrough or something. It's a long, complicated name, but it's, you know, free 30-minute call. And so if they are ready to talk to me, then they'll book a call either on my website or through an email or even through the blog. And then we have a conversation. I actually don't invite everyone to work with me. So there's roughly, you know, I don't know, over half of the people I talk to that I don't actually invite to work with me. And Janet, that goes back to something we've talked about before, about how careful it is, how important it is to be careful about, the clients that you do choose to engage with, just energetically make sure that you're a match. Make sure that, because that's the way that they're going to be most successful, is if you are just 100% on board with working with them and they are with you. So if I don't invite them to work with me, I actually refer them elsewhere. But the process is just, that call is really important. And sometimes, often, there's a lot of follow-up. So a lot of email follow-up, sometimes a second call, and other ways that people can engage with me. I'm doing a teleclass series right now, and I'm receiving some scholarship applications. And a couple of those women I actually talked to a long time ago. We talked a long time ago, and they weren't ready to step up at that point. Now they're applying for a scholarship for my program. So they've been kind of checking me out all this time. Didn't know that. It's great to know. It's definitely a marathon. It's not a sprint. Some people are sprinters, but for the most part, it's a marathon.
Yeah, and I like what you say too. You don't think of it as a process, and I don't know, probably just because of the way that I think, right? I always think about moving things forward, right? Getting to that end result, and the process could be just giving people that glimmer of hope on a call. That, you know what, you too could do this, and maybe they're not ready for it. So that whole hard sell approach is totally not the way things are going to work. Particularly for people who are coaches or consultants that are really trying to help people shift their lives and make major changes. Because unless people are totally enrolled in that process with you, and they see it as, we're not doing this you're not doing this for me, I'm not buying this from you, this is a process that you're leading me through, and that's really what a coach is for.
Yeah, and they're choosing, it's their choice to work with you. It's, I see it, it's definitely a relationship. It really is, and if you're good at relationships, which a lot of salespeople are, then you're going to have a higher success rate. But I find that it really needs to come from a genuine place of really genuine caring. Really. And building that relationship like you would a friendship. And it can take time, and definitely not bailing on people. Like, I know that coaches, a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with being consistent in their email marketing or their blogs or their e-zines. And if you drop out of sight for even 3 weeks, it's going to feel like a major disconnect with your people. And it's somewhat like you disappearing from your friends for 3 weeks, right? All of a sudden you're not texting, you're not calling, you're not emailing them. I mean, they're going to wonder kind of what's up. Like, that relationship, even if they don't wonder, the relationship won't really progress as quickly as it would if you are in contact with them more regularly, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I have been doing twice a week, and it really does make a difference. And it is amazing to me that, say a year, it's been a little over a year that I actually built my list and started having a relationship with these people on the list. And what's amazing to me is that when new people will all of a sudden pop up and send me an email or, request a session with me, and I realize that I don't even know, I've never heard from that person before. I don't know what finally triggered them to, because I can't see the results of that when I'm sending out my emails each week.
Yes.
And what's also interesting that very often people will say, well, I don't even know how I first got following you,
Yeah, they're not even sure. But you can rest assured that if they're not opting out, they're listening. They may not open every single email, but they've chosen to stay on your list. It's very easy to unsubscribe now.
That's true.
The email services, they don't even have to go to your website to unsubscribe. Like MSN, you can literally, they offer an option where you can click unsubscribe, and you don't even have to go off of the email to do that.
Right.
So you can pretty much know that they're listening, they're watching, and when the time is right, they'll step in to work with you, or they'll opt out, go somewhere else. But the right people, are on your list right now because they're hanging out.
Yeah, so for those people out there who have an email list, then you better be connecting with those people in a heartfelt way.
Yeah.
And that's a huge tip. And, you know, I think I've done plenty of segments here on the podcast talking about how important it is to build a list and with different ways that you can do that.
Yeah. And you're able to help people with that. So, and I consider that a critical component as well to success, is to have an online tribe that you are building and growing over time, and that's the foundation for your business. And those are the people that you can be enrolling into your programs and services, and obviously the larger your list, the better. Critical, so important.
Yeah, so most definitely, and that really is, you know, that could just be the tidbit that somebody out there needs to hear is, oh, okay, maybe I need to connect better with my, to create a list, whatever.
Yeah.
But Wendy, when we talked earlier, you asked me whether you could offer a free gift, and not everybody that I interview does that, but I think it's wonderful that you've offered to do that. So why don't you tell people what you have?
Okay, thank you. I love giving stuff away. I have like lots of free stuff I give away. So it's called a SoulFuel Jumpstart Kit. It's an audio program that I created that includes 2 PDF downloads. The PDF download, you know, they come together, 3 pieces come together. And it's basically to help people find clarity on what their soul fuel is and to really get down to the heart of the matter. I created this because it took me literally almost a decade to figure out why I'm really here and what I should really be doing in my strengths. And I read, you know, tons of books, conferences. Oh my gosh, I just wasted a lot of time. So I distilled a lot of that down into these key questions and exercises and walk people through a process. So that's what I'd love to offer up today. Do you want me to tell them how to get it, Janet, or just...
Yeah. Be awesome. And I will also, we will have it on our straighttalksalesandmarketing.com site.
Okay.
But in the meantime, if people want to, if they're at a computer and they want to type it in right now, shoot.
Okay. Yeah, it's wendycollier.com, so wendycollier.com/soulfuel jumpstart. So it's SoulFuel Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. And as always, there's thefreedomshift.com to download my book, Sell from the Heart. And for those who would like to check out our website, it's straighttalksalesandmarketing.com. So, Wendy, thank you so much for joining us here today. I don't know about anybody else, but my screen froze about halfway through this.
Oh.
So if it's still recording, great, but we know we got the audio anyway, so that's awesome.
Okay. All right, Janet. It was a pleasure to be with you. This was really fun. Thank you so much for inviting me.
And thank you so much, and we will talk with everybody again next week.
Bye.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you. Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye.